Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, I'm here with professional fighter Edward Hyman, a guy we're very excited to have on the next Fighters Rep event, Fighters Rep 12, February 18th. And he's going to be taking on Conor Bracken at that time. And Ed, I wanted to get you on the channel just so people can get to know a little bit more about you. And so I could also get to know a little bit more about you. So first and foremost, I appreciate you doing this. How are you doing today, Ed?
I'm doing good, man. Just chilling out, hanging in there.
Yeah, we did speak a little bit off camera. You told me
Right.
you're living it up out there in Irvine.
Yeah, I'm in Irvine right now. Irvine's a nice city, so it treats me well. I'll put it that way.
And you're out there in Orange County, and that means that that's probably part of the reason you're training over at Classic Fight Team, which is also in Orange County, I believe. And
Correct.
that's a hell of a team. That's a hell of a team. First and foremost, though, Ed, kind of take me through, who Ed Hyman is in a nutshell, and we'll ask you about, the rest and how you got into fighting.
Ed Hyman in a nutshell. Well, I mean, I'm above 30, so there's a lot to say there. But I mean, right now, as far as like my career wise, I'm a chef. So I'm a chef out here at the Country Club Costa Mesa. So that takes up majority of my time. I'm just a family man. I do that. We moved out here from Temecula about maybe 6 years ago now, maybe 5 to 6 years ago, transitioning jobs. And so that's how I kind of fell into Classic Fight Team's gym. Because initially I was at Dan Henderson / Brigada Elite, which is like a Muay Thai gym in Temecula area.
Ah, okay, okay.
Funny story though is when I'm just gonna jump right into it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, cool. But yeah, funny story is that my first kickboxing fight was in Glory, and it was actually against Matt Baker. Hats off to Matt Baker.
Man, okay.
He's a beast. And I lost that fight via decision. He did a good job, and then I saw that. Conor actually trains. They train at the same gym, and I'm like, wow, it's a full circle.
That's right. That's right.
It's a small world. When I heard about that, I was like, oh wow, like I guess everything comes 360. So I think that adds a little bit more to it. A storyline is always fun.
Yeah.
When it comes to watching a fight, so that's exciting.
And well, not just that, you could supplement it also by saying that, Tyler Smith, who's also out of Classic Fight Team.
Yes. So check this out. Funny story, right? So, and I'm not even going to tell you about like the issues that I went through, whatever, fighting that fight, whatever. A fight happens, you win, you lose, whatever happens, whatever that happened, moving up to that point. That's just a part of the nature, right?
Right.
But it wasn't the most ideal situation. Let's put it that way. But when I was in the dressing room, or when we were getting prepared and whatnot, and hitting pads, getting ready to go out there and put on a show, guess who was in the room?
Yep.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Tyler was in the same dressing room as us and with Raymond Daniels.
Oh, no way. No way.
Yeah. So it was really interesting because, I saw Raymond Daniel, preparing, getting mentally ready. I was getting mentally ready. And it was just kind of like 360 once again, that same time, that same place, that same fight. And now moving forward to today, I'm at his gym. So it's really interesting how things work,
That
small
is
world.
interesting.
The fight world is small. Yeah.
That is interesting. And, Tyler had a really good fight with Conor at Fighters Rep 11. Conor came away with the decision. I think adds a little bit more sauce to the stew. Am I right, Chef?
Yeah, that adds a little bit of sauce to the stew. It's getting thick, when the flames are high, the fire's burning, the sauce will get thick. So it's getting thick. Yeah, definitely.
There you go. So he lost by decision in a real good fight. Tyler Smith is a good fighter. Lost by decision to Conor in a really good fight, and this is
right.
sort of a chance, another chance for Classic Fight Team and Wooden Man Muay Thai to go at it once again.
Right, exactly. Barn burner, folks.
Man, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to watch it. And a lot of history, from both gyms. Now, we
Right.
mentioned you train out of Classic. I have the utmost respect for Tyler Wombles. I gotta say, Ed Hyman. I mean, that is a man's man. That's a guy that just speaks his mind.
Yeah, he does.
And I love what he does on social media. We'll leave it at that. But
Yeah.
kind of tell me how your experience has been out there at Classic Fight Team.
Well, sorry.
It's all good.
Well, at class, when it comes to a gym, I try to make sure like I click with the people because it's like a family, Especially like I don't have that much time as it is. I feel so I try to make sure that the people that I'm around is like good people. Tyler is kind of brash, coming off initially, and I like that. I don't want to try to figure out who a person is. Like what you see is what you get with him. So I appreciated that, and then the way that he runs his class. His the tutelage that he has, and he makes I don't want to say he makes, but he gives people the tools they need to succeed to become a good fighter, and he holds you accountable, and I definitely need that.
Yeah, and some great fighters coming out of there. I mean, T.J. Dillashaw comes to mind. I know he goes by there to train.
Yeah,
You've got Diego Paez.
there you
So
go.
definiteen
The
impressive.
Paez brothers, they're beasts, man.
Yeah,
They're with it, man. They're scrappy. So they come out of there, and I know you have Andre. I know he hasn't really been active like lately, but you got Andre, who's a big southpaw guy who hits pretty heavy. Um, Andre Walker. So
yeah, and you've got a couple really, I mean, really decorated amateurs on the card coming up that are also out of your team. I mean, David Rivera, my understanding is he's recently gone over to Classic Fight Team, as has the Korean Pitbull Joshua
yeah,
Fochtman, a guy we're really excited about as well. So a
yeah.
lot of fun coming out of that gym. A lot of fun.
Yeah, they get at it. Everyone that's in there is ready to go. So
Now,
exciting people to watch.
Now, Ed, you said you fought Matt Baker at Glory. I mean, was that your only kickboxing bout?
That was my only professional kickboxing bout. So, like when I had started, doing the whole fight thing. Initially, I wasn't trying to be a fighter. Honestly, I was just going to the gym, and I gotta say, like I'm kind of athletic, and so people saw that, were like, "Oh man, you need to try to fight. You need to try to fight." So you know how it goes. Yeah,
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
one, I do two. So I did how many? I did a good amount of maybe like seven or so like amateur kickboxing bouts. But during that time, there really wasn't that many organizations. So that's when I had to transition to MMA. And then once I had the opportunity to fight kickboxing, I was like, hey, you know what? Let me go in there and jump in the water.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how that happened.
Yeah, because I did notice you had an MMA record. But I mean, but for you to just jump into your first pro kickboxing bout, despite the amateur experience with a guy like Matt Baker, I think that shows a lot as far as your character goes.
Yeah, stubborn. Yeah, I guess some people call it webbles, but stubborn, whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I felt like sometimes you got to take that opportunity. So
Yeah, and here you are again. Again, we discussed. You'll be fighting one of Matt Baker's teammates, but
yeah,
a guy with a little bit less experience than Matt Baker, of course, but a guy who, as far as striking goes, in the pro
mhm.
level, I mean, he's won. He's actually 2-0-1, so he's got a couple more striking pro bouts than you do, but obviously not as many MMA fights as you do.
Right.
What do you kind of know about Conor Bracken, and how do you think you size up with him?
Connor. I mean, from what I've seen, scrappy dude, resilient. Looks like he has pretty good like conditioning, like cardio. He's always coming forward.
Yeah.
It looks like a pressure fighter. I don't want to assume what he's going to do in there because when you go in there, everyone has a plan until you get hit. So um, yeah, but that's what I know about him. So I know his conditioning is going to be pretty good, and that he's going to come in there to bring it.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously Tyler Smith was in there with him. I'm assuming.
Mhm.
I'm assuming. I mean, you have Tyler to kind of help you through this camp.
I'm gonna be honest. No,
Oh, okay,
uh,
okay.
I see. I mean, everyone has a schedule and their own responsibilities. So sometimes you're able to link up with people, and sometimes you're not. And as
Yeah.
far as like Tyler and I's schedule is like totally different. He works like a lot at night. Maybe every like once, maybe like once a week. We'll train together. But as far as like whispering in the air, telling like, hey, you know what, he kind of drifts to the left or the right, it's like that's really not there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I feel like that too really doesn't go too far anyway. It's different when somebody trained with somebody else and then you're gonna fight them, then you can really have details on what they're gonna do. But somebody, it's like it's hard to say for sure that's what they're going to do all the time. Or hey, like obviously, like if he has like a strong right hand or a strong kick or whatever, then that's going to
Right, right.
be like evident to say. But I don't think it goes too far when you fight somebody on like how they would do
Got you,
against like
got you.
another opponent.
Now, no, no, I
I mean,
love that.
that's my
You're letting us into the mind of
sorry.
a fighter, and that's part of the way we get to know you guys, and I appreciate that. So you've had something like
Yeah,
five. Is it five MMA fights you've had in the past? You've
yeah,
had five
yeah,
MMA
five
fights.
pro
You've had a
MMA.
pro kickboxing bout. You know, is it? Are
Hmm.
you trying to, get into kickboxing, or do you prefer just striking over MMA, or is it just an opportunity that came up and you said, "Let me jump on this"?
Um, I don't know. Like I'm healthy right now, and I know that I haven't fought in a little bit, and I feel like I still have like good skills and everything to present, and I just want to redeem my kickboxing. Like I got to make sure I can't have a kickboxing record of 0-1. Like
For
that's like the
sure.
main thing. That's just like the fighter in me. Like I just don't want to have it like that. And people, you lose, like it happens. Like you lose, but you got to get back on that horse and you got to redeem yourself. So really, it's like Bob Marley
Yeah,
redemption song. I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
Bob Marley. But yeah, I'm trying to get that redemption right here, and it'll be real sweet if I can get it against Connor. No disrespect to him, but
For sure, for sure.
it
Now
is what
you
it is.
mentioned Now you mentioned,
Mhm.
your athleticism. What do you think is the best quality that you have as a fighter? What can the fight fans at Fighters Rep 12 expect to see out of you?
Um, if I'm really like really comfy and groovy in there, I'm pretty fast. So and yeah, I got a little bit of speed on me, so it allows me to
Yeah,
do like different things when I'm in there. Um, yeah, so that and I think low key I got a little bit of
for
power.
sure, for
Speed
sure.
equals power, so I mean, yeah, those two together. But anybody that's at this weight class, you're gonna have some power with you. So let's be honest, everyone's gonna have that for the most part, kind of like that knockout power once you're 185.
Oh yeah, cutting down to
We're kind of big,
185
but
too.
yeah,
that's not
yeah,
that's not little. That's not a
yeah,
little guy.
So you're no, yeah, it's not. It's not. But so like the power factor, I feel that everyone at this weight class
Yeah,
has
yeah.
that one hitter quitter power. But I think the speed. I do have a little bit
And
of
speaking
speed on
about
me.
that, I
Yeah,
mean, what
for
do you
sure.
think you'll weigh in the night of the fight? If that's something you even want to reveal.
What do you mean? Oh, the night of the fight? I don't even know. I I had no. I'm assuming
Nice,
for sure
nice,
over
nice.
two.
Now,
I would think. I mean, I would think unless
yeah.
something went terribly wrong, as far as like hydration and all that. But I mean, I would think I'd go
For
to
sure. Now
two
I
at
gotta
least.
ask you, since you're a chef, are you gonna be preparing your own meals during
Mhm.
your camp, your training camp?
Hell no, hell no. You serious? The chef life is when it comes to a chef, what we do is we don't really eat that well. Like we prepare
Yeah,
great
yeah.
food for other people, because we like having other people enjoy what we make. But as far as us, like we'll snack on things. We'll eat like a sandwich and we'll eat a Subway sandwich and be like, oh, this is great, you know? Yeah, it's pretty sad, but yeah, I mean, generally speaking, that's the way it is. My wife, she's handling most of the cooking
For
for me
sure.
right
Well,
now.
you're lucky
Appreciate
to
it.
have her. I know, I know being healthy. Yeah, I know being
It
being
ain't
healthy and
easy.
fight ready, while also cutting weight is not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not. It's not enjoyable, but
For
it's
sure.
it's
So,
not bad. It's
Ed,
not too
you
bad.
said you haven't fought in a while. I mean, and of course this pandemic happened too. I mean, have you been staying in the gym or
Hmm.
or how have you been?
Um, I mean, for the most part, yeah, like doing like different things. I got weights in my garage and all that. So like, usually I was like a person that was totally against weights, like because it's just boring to me. I was like, man, who wants to lift weights? Boring, like whatever. But I actually started like doing like a little bit like circuit training or whatever, just to
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
my mind right, honestly. And then whenever that I could, I'd go in classic, social distance, try to do what we can from there. Shadow box. I got
Yeah.
mirrors in my garage, so just do simple
And
things like
did you
that
play any
just to
other
stay
sports
active.
before getting into the fighting?
No, not really. I think I wrestled. I played baseball. Like everyone played
Yeah, for
baseball,
sure.
like coming up, like elementary, looking at the stars, like like in the outfield. But no, I did wrestling freshman and sophomore year, and then got over that. Then no sports,
Oh no.
waste of talent, as they
Oh no.
call it.
Well,
So yeah, my cousins, they're from the LA area. Uh, they out of three of them, they played D1 football, all that stuff, like football, and that route was like a big deal. And once you like push someone to do something all the time and try to make them their thing, you
right,
generally
right.
go the opposite way. So that's what happened with me. But with them, they one of them went to Cal Berkeley, the other one went to Washington State. The third brother, he went to, I don't know, I think he went to somewhere in the like Boise, Idaho,
Gotcha. And what did the
something like
family
that.
think about you getting into fighting? I mean, what did they have to say about that?
And here you go again. Like I was always the wild card. So they're like, fighting, yeah, makes sense. And especially when and they were cool when I started doing the kickboxing fights. When I would be amateur, they were cool with that. They're like, you know what, we know boxing, we can understand that. But then when I went in the cage, they're like, why? Like,
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
going on with
yeah.
you? So yeah. But then after that, they was like, okay, you did a couple, you're not dead, you're all right, you still have somewhat of a brain, you can speak, fairly well. So so I
Yeah, and
guess
I
it
always
was
like to
okay.
tell people I don't know a lot of kickboxers that are punch drunk. I know boxers that are punch drunk. I know MMA fighters
Yeah,
whose bodies are
yeah,
completely destroyed and maybe a little bit punchy. But as far as kickboxers, I think
yeah.
the 3 3 minute rounds are kind of perfect for longevity.
You know what? Honestly, it is. It's like a sprint. Like go go go. Oh wait, done. What, go go go. Done. And then go. All right, you're done. You're like, whoa. All right, that's the fight. Yeah, yeah. Because MMA, let me tell you, 3 5 minute rounds is rough, especially like when somebody's taking you down, hitting you up and
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
It's like it takes a lot out
Well,
of it. So
you mentioned
you know,
waste of talent, Ed, but I don't think so. I'm gonna have to beg to differ. I think on February 18th we're gonna put that talent to some really good use. How do you feel? How do you feel about
Mhm.
this sort of renaissance we're trying to establish here with the sport of kickboxing, kind of bring it back to the forefront?
I think it's great. I wish it would have happened earlier. I feel that like right now, like it's needed because there was none. It was just like so MMA heavy. And don't get me wrong, I love MMA too as well. But I mean, you got to have an avenue for the kickboxers, man. Like it's one of the most exciting sports to watch. I mean, literally hands and feet the whole time. You know, 3 3-minute rounds. You have to stay active. It just pushes the action. Like, who wouldn't want to see that? Like, that's how I look at it. So I think it's
Thank you,
great
brother. And
what you guys are
I
doing
couldn't
here.
agree more. It's why, I'm trying to push kickboxing to the forefront, and we really appreciate you being a part of it. Ed, we've
Yeah,
been at this for 20 minutes,
yeah.
man. I don't want to take away too much of your time. I know you're a family man. I know you're training for a fight.
Cool.
I know you got a lot of stuff
Mhm.
going on. I did want to
Yeah, yeah,
ask you though, what can
yeah.
people expect from you at Fighters Rep 12? Why should they buy a ticket to come out and watch you, or join the channel to watch the live stream to watch Ed Hyman fight?
I mean, it's gonna be exciting, and I mean, as far as I know about myself, I don't really back down. So, I mean, I think you're gonna see a little bit of a show. If you want to see some action, somebody that's gonna get in there, ready to put in some work, and maybe I'm not a flashy guy, but sometimes it might look flashy. Then you wanna stay
Oh
tuned.
man, I
Don't
absolutely
blink.
love that. The thought of a Ed Hyman that doesn't back down versus a Conor Bracken that also doesn't really take a step backwards.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, wow, like it's gonna be a
Dude,
fun
this
one.
is gonna be
I can see it being
fireworks.
fun.
Ed, I really appreciate your time. Where can people follow you on social media and support you?
I think it's Edward Scissorhands on Instagram.
I think you're right.
Honestly, I'm sorry. My wife, she got that. She was like, "Hey, you need to do better promoting yourself on Instagram." I'm not really that active on it, but I do have it.
It's
It's at
right.
Edward
This is actually
Scissorhands.
what it is. I'm
I,
gonna give it to you guys now. It's Scissor Hands Hyman on Instagram, guys. Follow Ed Hyman.
there you go. That's what it
For
is.
sure, for
Appreciate
sure,
you.
guys. Be sure to follow
Well,
Ed Hyman at Scissor Hands Hyman. He's going to be putting on what I think is going to be a hell of a show against a very tough Conor Bracken. One more thing, Ed. I'm gonna ask you to shout out those people supporting you and all your potential sponsors, and then tell people to subscribe to the channel.
hey, you know what? Shout out to Classic Fight Team. Shout out to my wife. And honestly, shout out to Fighters Rep, giving me the opportunity here, to try to put on a show for them, not try to put on a show for them. And, bringing kickboxing back, baby. That's what we're here for. Subscribe to
It's
the
just right
channel.
here.
What's the
It's
channel?
Fighters Rep. That's where they can watch this interview with Ed Hyman, brother.
There you go. Yeah, tune in, get your tickets, hurry up. They might sell
Thank you,
out
Ed.
fast.
Thank you, Ed, man. We can't
Let's
wait to
go.
have you, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Hyman.
All right, deuces. Thanks.